What is up and welcome to another edition of Worth a Watch with me, Anthony Flores. This is going to be my review for the new Vince Vaughn comedy, Unfinished Business. Starring Vince Vaughn himself, as I just said, Tom Wilkinson, Dave Franco, Sienna Miller, Nick Frost, and James Marsden. Now, before we dive right into the review though, just a quick thing. If you have yet to check out my entire movie collection, Blu-rays, DVDs, in every genre category, whatever, and what have you. All the stuff behind me, if you want to check out what I own and want to just talk movies and talk about Blu-ray collecting and whatnot, check those out. 7 awesome, glorious parts of all kinds of randomness and Blu-ray and DVD goodness for you if you want to check that out. It's on my channel right now. So anyways, from that, we shall segue into talking about this movie, Unfinished Business. I have to say, in terms of comedy so far, we're doing pretty good this year. I didn't hate Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I thought it was okay. It was, a decent enough time. This movie, I feel a little bit better about, simply because it's an original movie. It's not, as far as I know, it's not a remake or a retelling or a sequel of some kind. It's an original film. Again, as far as I know, I pray to God this isn't some remake of some fucking European film of some kind. A lot of shit happens like that. But if so, either way, it's a decent enough movie to definitely just have a good laugh. More so than Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I definitely dug this a lot more. I laughed a little bit more often in this movie. But anyways, enough comparisons. I'm just going to say this. Vince Vaughn is, just a quick story synopsis, Vince Vaughn is a father who's just very overstrained due to a situation that happens between his former, I believe, boss at his original company of salesmanship and whatnot. They have a falling out, and he basically says, whoever wants to come with me to start up my own company, come with me, and just let's see if we can start this shit up, And we have Tom Wilkinson and Dave Franco, who have their various own funny reasons as to why they end up joining him on this company venture within the beginning of the film. And from there, we have the biggest situation. His old rival, supervisor / company versus his little startup company. Going for the same deal, wanting to go and trying to make the deal with James Marsden and Nick Frost's company. So from there we have a bunch of wacky antics all over a little bit of Europe. As far as I know, again, that's filmed in various portions of Europe, like Berlin, I believe, Germany, and I forget the other place. Either way, we have our antics ensuing, all in the meantime of the family subplot between Vince Vaughn. He has his family back at home. He's just that overworking dad, but at the same time, that's where I do hate cliches like this, when it has the overworking dad who doesn't realize he's an asshole for not helping out his family. But at least in this film, they changed that cliche up just enough to where I thought, you know what, I give a shit about Vince Vaughn struggling with his family situation, because in all honesty, this is arguably the most likable Vince Vaughn's been in forever. I don't even remember. I mean, every movie he plays that really fast Vince Vaughn talking guy, he just kind of talks a little bit too much, and then he ends up just, just kind of going around in circles with that. He kind of does that. And that's pretty much it. He's the asshole who tries to talk himself out of shit. In this movie, he toned it back. The Vince Vaughn isms were a little bit toned back, and I actually like that because he actually tried to perform. He actually tried to be a caring person, but in this movie he portrayed a guy between juggling with his family's problems, his business problems, because he's literally the head of a tiny company of 3 people, juggling too much, biting off more than what he could chew, and he has to pull things off. And yeah, that's admirable to an extent. Yeah, he fucks up and whatever the cliches happen in this film, but I admire that. I thought that was different enough for Vince Vaughn to do, and I thought, what, he kind of pulled that off. Doing that type of character role. And then we also have Tom Wilkinson, who is the older member of the group, and he has some pretty hilarious reasons as to why he joined the company. And yeah, it's Tom Wilkinson. He's a great veteran actor. I have nothing against the guy. Yeah, he was funny in his own right for being the really random part of this movie. And Dave Franco, I just gotta say, the guy's growing into his own as a character actor, very much like his brother James. Wow, he stole the show. Mike Pancake. That's a character I'll remember for probably the rest of the year, at least for sure. He stole the show because his character is very fidgety, very timid, and very soft-spoken. And I thought, again, that's a very different way for Dave Franco to approach a role, because he's always that smart alecky douchebag that just goes, yeah. You know, he always does that stupid grin, you know, and he still does the stupid grin, but he's at least, again, like the most likable he's been in a while, because like in the 21 Jump Street movies, even last year's Neighbors, it was the same shit. At least here, he played a very much different role, a very soft-spoken, timid individual, and I thought that added some, you know, just some, you know, development to the character, and I thought that was nice. I shouldn't say development. Either way, it added some more likability to it because it was a different role for Dave Franco. He stole the show with a lot of his one-liners and just very subtle stuff as well. So overall, the chemistry between the three was just really great. For three random people like this to have good chemistry, I think that's a very big success story for this little movie. I can't recommend it higher than a matinee because, again, it is very cliche to an extent. You kind of know what's going to happen. But overall, I had a very good time. Me and my cousin checked this out at a screening, and I definitely dug it. This is definitely a high matinee. It almost could get there to full price because there is some hard R-rated stuff in here. I'm very shocked because R ratings usually just mean a lot of cursing nowadays, but no, or a lot of violence. There was actually some hard, raunchy stuff in here. I was very surprised, and yeah, it has shocked me a little bit here or there, but either way, I laughed, which is the biggest thing a comedy should do. I enjoyed the characters to an extent, and I kind of gave a shit about the characters as well. Those three things right there alone are just, you know, it's enough to have a good laugh with your friends or whoever. You know, it's a good high matinee price for this movie. I really dug it a lot more than I thought I would. I was hoping it was hilarious, and I enjoyed it myself a lot in this movie. So that should do it for my review of Unfinished Business. Feel free to comment below if you've seen the movie. Let me know what you thought about it. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that other good stuff in between. So until next time, I'm Anthony Flores with Worth a Watch, and keep going to the movies.